I think
And it's
that
very hard
only
to get it across to them that there are reactions to their actions, equal and opposite and unavoidable.
I'm
Like, I
sorry.
can't blame God or any outside force for the tragedies that have befallen me, you know.
Since everything is free will, um, did we sort of collectively create the world that we are living now, and gave these people the power that they have?
Well, collectively, by being good 9 to 5 workers and taxpayers and voters, we are the cornerstone of what they stand on. We hold them up. We, the people, like not me, you, or the people we know, but the populations of the earth consent to their being there by voting for them. Even they turn around and they think to themselves, well, if they voted me in, they're consenting to whatever I do. So they can do anything they like. The people have consented in their vote. So they have, it's a very odd, crazy, weird way of looking at things. It's fraud. It's a con.
But basically, collectively, we have created
Oh,
them and created the situation we're in.
well, our presence here, I mean, we are we created the situation that we're in. Our sojourn in this life and possibly previous lives have led us to this exact moment.
Mhm.
So we are the architects of our own being here and the architects of our own demise here. We're not suffering somebody else's karma,
Mm,
just our own.
exactly. As you so brilliantly pointed out, that there's a desire. So to you, there's always a desire to come back into the material besides karma.
Besides karma, yes, personal enjoyment outside of, because ultimately there is only one enjoyer, and that's the creator. The rest of us are in the soup,
Hmm.
and we think that we enjoy. If we spend our time just here, we're here to enjoy ourselves, then we miss the purpose of being here, and maybe lose the opportunity for quite some time. you know.
I wanted to ask you something personal, and you don't have to get into it if you don't want to, but I'm just gonna ask you this way: in your hardest point of your life, how were you able to keep your faith in your knowing? How were you able to keep your knowing in what you know, and keep going?
Well, it that part of life, knowing, doesn't go away, and whatever befalls the earth and and us that are in it, the inevitable. There is an inevitable that is unavoidable. So whatever happens, there is no external force that is to blame for it. No one can turn around and blame God for anything.
Hmm.
And stupid people who say stupid things like, oh, look at all the suffering in this world. How come God allows all this suffering in the world? If there was a God, he wouldn't allow this. Why doesn't he come down and stop this? He ain't doing it. We're doing it.
Hmm.
And we're only going to get back what we dished out. So if something happened to us, it comes from us dishing it out somewhere along the line. So we're the architects of our own demise. God is not to blame for the situation of suffering on this earth.
I think that
Every
only
individual is, and it can come collectively as well, like I said, you know. So that's an understanding people don't have.
I think
And it's
that
very hard
only
to get it across to them that there are reactions to their actions, equal and opposite, and unavoidable. So,
I'm I'm
like, I
sorry.
can't blame God or any outside force for the tragedies that have befallen me, you know. So,
I think that only extremely strong people can realize this and realize and know that by realizing these things you keep the power in your hands, because you don't become victim to the victimhood mentality and start blaming everything and everyone around you, but you still kind of keep that power over your life. um so I commend you for that, man. That's, there's very little people like you in the world that are able
well,
to take that
well,
responsibility,
well, I'm still pissed off with the world. I'm not. This is, I'm not in some dream happy land. Uh, 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 I can, I could put them all in a fucking meat grinder in the morning and turn it up to 11, man. Clean the world that way. Yeah.
How do you I'm gonna bleep this out, but I really want to know what you think about this. What kind of role do Jewish people play in all of this, man?
Oh, they're victims. Victims in it all. And stupid to believe uh, that they have a history and that it's superior to everybody else's. But this is again a mindset, and you can take any child when they're small and give them a falsity, and they'll carry it with them. And it's also like a bad karmic thing to have such sectarian belief system put upon you. And then, of course, they're given stories about their suffering, and along with their superiority. So they're unfortunate victims, and they can be thrown under the bus by the regime that controls them anytime.
Mhm.
So they're they're in as much illusion as anybody else, basically, who has faith in a sectarian religious belief system. Yeah.
But my question is, why do most of these clans that are, that we're fighting against, why do they come from this particular group of people? Do you think it's because of
Because
why?
they're the servants of the cabal, and they're willing to, because they feel themselves superior, they're willing to go to Hollywood to take over in order to delude people. They're able to go into politics in order to influence policy,
Bank
uh,
systems.
and they can get into uh, banking and
Thank you.
number crunching
Mhm.
and uh, cook the books for the biggest banking empire in the world. So they are willing servants, and they ally themselves with a sectarian religious belief system. They pretend to be that, but in fact, they have an origin that comes from before that. And we know who that is. Yeah, the K's.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So what do you think happened during World War II and the Holocaust? What is your view on that?
Well, they were enslaved along with others and put into the labor camps to be slave labor for the war effort. And it was not a very bad situation for them.
But do you think it
And
was some
then,
sort of a sacrifice? Do you think it was some sort of a
well,
sacrificial act?
when America entered the war and started to bomb the shit out of the infrastructure and the train network that existed, that supplied all of these camps with everything they needed, and suddenly that fell apart, people started to starve to death. But it wasn't anybody's plan. It wasn't in the plan, but it happened. But then, of course, it gives them. It was part of that Balfour Agreement and the creation of the country
Hmm.
that the guy with the mustache was the special agent put in place to make that happen.
Was he also Jewish?
I don't know. There's speculation of that, but he went to Jesuit school at the age of 7. He was trained by them.
Because the reason I'm asking you this is because anywhere I look is I keep seeing this certain group of people pop up, like you mentioned, from Hollywood to banking to all these families and this and that, and it got me thinking, man.
Yeah,
But
willing servants will do it for money, and of course they do have a mindset that they are superior to others,
race.
one that's very hard to break.
I never heard anyone say this. Your concept is freaking brilliant, man. I never heard anyone put it this way as far as servants. This is brilliant. And this leads me into my next question. Um to you, who was Christ and when did this whole story of Jesus Christ happen?
Ooh.